Have you ever considered the unsettling truths that lie beneath America's gleaming surface? America, the land of the free, the home of the brave, the birthplace of the American dream, is a land of stark contrasts. It's a terrain where breathtaking skyscrapers cast long shadows over crumbling neighborhoods. A place where glitzy Hollywood premieres are a stone's throw away from the harsh realities of Skid Row. This dichotomy is the very essence of America. A land of opportunities, yet also a land of disparities. The United States is known worldwide as a beacon of prosperity. It's home to some of the wealthiest individuals and corporations on the planet. Silicon Valley, Wall Street, Hollywood. These are all names synonymous with immense wealth and success. But what's often overlooked is that alongside this glittering prosperity, there's a less glamorous side to the American dream. Despite its wealth, America has one of the highest poverty rates among developed nations. Millions of its residents live in conditions that many of us would find unimaginable. In the shadows of the world's richest companies, people struggle to put food on the table, to keep a roof over their heads, to simply survive. The country that put a man on the moon, that leads in technological innovation, that is home to some of the most affluent individuals, also houses a population where 1 in 8 people live in poverty. That's a staggering fact, isn't it? In cities across the nation, from the bustling streets of New York to the sunny boulevards of Los Angeles, the wealth gap is not only apparent, but it's widening. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer. It's a tale as old as time, but it's particularly stark in the land of opportunity. So we find ourselves asking, in a country that has the capacity to generate such tremendous wealth, in a society that prides itself on the promise of the American dream, why do so many find themselves on the brink? In a land overflowing with resources, why do so many find themselves struggling to survive? Did you know that in the land of plenty, many go to bed hungry? It's a sobering thought, isn't it? Yet it's a reality for millions of Americans. Food insecurity, or the lack of consistent access to enough food for an active, healthy life, is a stark paradox in a country that is one of the world's largest food producers. You might ask, how can this be? Well, the reasons are numerous and complex. At the heart of it lies income inequality. It's a tale as old as time. The rich get richer, and the poor struggle to keep their heads above water. For many families, after paying for housing, utilities, and healthcare, there's not much left over for food. And it's not just about having food on the table, but having access to nutritious food. This leads us to another aspect of this hidden hunger, the issue of food deserts. These are areas often in low-income neighborhoods where fresh, healthy food is hard to come by. The local corner store might be stocked with chips and soda, but try finding fresh fruits, vegetables, or lean proteins. It's a scarcity that contributes to a vicious cycle of poor nutrition, health problems, and poverty. Then there's the issue of waste. America wastes an estimated 40% of its food supply. That's right, almost half of all food ends up in the trash while millions go hungry. It's a systemic problem that needs addressing at every level, from farms and supermarkets to our own kitchens. Food insecurity is certainly one of the most unsettling truths in America today. But it's not an unsolvable problem. There are many organizations and initiatives out there fighting to end hunger, and they need our support. And so, the next time you enjoy a meal, remember those who aren't as lucky. It's a reminder that even in the land of plenty, there's still much work to be done, because no one, especially not in a country as prosperous as America, should have to go to bed hungry. Can you guess which country has the highest incarceration rate in the world? It might surprise you, or maybe not. The United States, land of the free, holds this dubious distinction. Yes, America, a nation renowned for its freedom, has the highest rate of incarceration globally. A sobering reality, isn't it? Imagine a nation with less than 5% of the world's population, yet it houses almost a quarter of the world's prisoners. It's a startling statistic, but one that requires a deeper dive to understand its roots. We can't discuss America's prison population without mentioning harsh sentencing laws. The introduction of mandatory minimums in the late 20th century, for instance, has led to people being locked away for years, sometimes decades, for non-violent offenses. The war on drugs, a campaign that many argue has done more harm than good, has also played a significant role in swelling America's prison population. But there's more to this story. Racial disparities within the justice system have been a persistent issue. African Americans and Latinos are disproportionately represented in prisons across the country, a fact that raises uncomfortable questions about systemic racism and inequality. And let's not forget the prison industrial complex. a term that refers to the overlapping interests of government and industry that use surveillance, policing, and imprisonment as solutions to economic, social, and political problems. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, one that profits from the incarceration of individuals, further fueling this cycle of imprisonment. The irony is palpable. America, a country that prides itself on liberty and justice, has become the prison capital of the world. It's a complex issue, one that intertwines social, economic, and political threads, and demands our attention and action. Freedom, it seems, has a different meaning behind bars. What price would you put on good health? In the land of the free and the home of the brave, the cost of health often becomes a steep mountain to climb. The United States, a country known for its technological advancements and economic prowess, grapples with an exorbitant cost of healthcare, where even the simplest of medical procedures can lead to bankruptcy. Imagine this. You're a hardworking individual who, despite your best efforts, falls ill. You're forced to take time off work and seek medical help. But the cold, hard truth is that the medical bill might just be the end of your financial stability. Now let's talk numbers, but not the kind you might like. The United States spends roughly 2.5 times more on healthcare than the average of other developed countries. Yet, it doesn't necessarily translate into better health outcomes. And then there's the issue of prescription drugs. The cost of these life-saving medications can be so high that many are forced to choose between their health and their wallet. The same medication that you can get for a few dollars in another country might cost you hundreds, if not thousands, in the United States. And what about universal healthcare? It's a concept that's been embraced by many developed nations around the globe. Yet in the United States, it remains a topic of hot debate. The lack of universal healthcare means that millions of Americans are left uninsured or underinsured, leading to delayed or foregone care. The stark reality is that the cost of health in America often comes with a hefty price tag. It's a price that many can't afford to pay, leading to a cycle of debt, stress, and worse, neglected health. The question we're left with is this: should health be a commodity, a luxury for those who can afford it? Or should it be a fundamental right, accessible and affordable to all, regardless of their economic status? Is education a right or a privilege? This question, seemingly simple, is actually at the heart of a complex issue that plagues the United States today. We're talking about the education lottery, a system where the quality of education a child receives can often hinge on something as arbitrary as their zip code. In the so-called land of opportunity, it's a harsh reality that not all opportunities are evenly distributed. You see, in America, public schools are primarily funded by local property taxes. This means that schools in wealthier neighborhoods with higher property values have more resources at their disposal. They can afford better facilities, more experienced teachers, and a wider range of extracurricular activities. On the flip side, schools in lower-income neighborhoods where property values are lower struggle to provide even the basics. The teachers are often less experienced, the facilities outdated, and resources for special programs or extracurricular activities are scarce. This disparity creates an education lottery, where the quality of your education depends largely on the luck of your geographical location. This cycle unfortunately perpetuates the divide between the haves and the have-nots. Those who are privileged to receive a high-quality education are more likely to go on to higher education, land well-paying jobs, and continue the cycle of privilege for their own children. Those who aren't as lucky, however, often find themselves trapped in a cycle of poverty and limited opportunities. Now, there are efforts being made to level the playing field. Some states have taken steps to redistribute funding more evenly, but the progress is slow, and the issue is deeply rooted in a system that has been in place for decades. In the pursuit of knowledge, not all paths are created equal. But acknowledging this unsettling truth is the first step on the journey to a more equitable education system. And perhaps one day, education in America will be viewed not as a privilege, nor as a lottery, but as a fundamental right for all, regardless of their zip code. In the face of these daunting issues, what does the future hold for education in America? The answer lies, in large part, with us. Each one of us has a role to play in shaping the future of education. It starts with acknowledging the problem, then taking steps to address it. This might mean advocating for policy changes at the local, state, or national level. It might mean volunteering your time or resources to help underfunded schools in your community. Or it might mean using your voice to spread awareness about the education lottery and the unfair disparities it creates. Education should not be a game of chance, dependent on the luck of one's birth. It should be a guarantee, an equal opportunity for all children, regardless of their zip code. Changing the system won't be easy. It will require effort, commitment, and most importantly, a collective will to make a difference. But the rewards are worth it. A more equitable education system means a brighter future for all children, and ultimately a stronger, more prosperous nation. As we wrap up this exploration, remember, change begins with a single step. So, what step will you take today to help end the education lottery? Thank you for watching and engaging with this pressing issue. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Together, we can make a difference.